day 15 of Sefer Chafetz Chaim. If one extends or aggravates a quarrel by speaking Lashon Hara, he violates another prohibition. So, right, someone perpetuates and extends a quarrel. If one perpetuates a dispute with his Lashon Hara on account over od alav delo yeh bekorach ke'adato. He also violates prohibition, why shall not be like Korah and his assembly. This is in Sefer Bamidbar, chapter 17, verse 5. Right, Korah and his assembly, if we remember Parshas Korah, they wrongly disputed Aaron's right to the Kehuna, and they were subsequently punished. Korah and his assembly were swallowed by the earth, while the 250 Anshich, the important people who wanted to become Kohanim Gedolim, they were destroyed in a plague. Which is a warning against perpetuating a quarrel, as it is found in the Gemara in Sanhedrin 110a. Okay, so that's Sif 12. Moving on to the next one. Someone who speaks Lashon Hara commonly violates the prohibition against onat dvarim, hurting someone with words. Now this following Sif, it applies only to the speaker and not to the listener. Okay. Very often, at the same time that a person is speaking Lashon Hara, he is involved in the violation for another prohibition as well. For it is quite common that Ruvain will humiliate his fellow Shimon by recalling his past misdeeds, or by mentioning a flaw in Shimon's family, or in his mediocre knowledge of Torah, or his line of work. Each person according to his particular situation. Right? So Ruvain will harass Shimon in whatever place, in whatever area that Shimon is personally vulnerable. And when such comments are said to Shimon, he becomes antagonized and flustered, and incapable of defending himself from them, because it's the truth. Right? He is weak in this certain area, and he cannot respond. Now, even if when such disparagement transpires between Reuven and Shimon in private, over alav delotano ish et amito. Reuven transgressed the prohibition. Each of you shall not cause distress to his fellow. This is Sefer Vayikra, chapter 25, verse 17. Which refers to onat dvarim, which is, as we explained, hurting someone with our words, as explained in Masechet Bava Metzia 58b to 59a. Certainly then, Ruvain transgresses the prohibitions if he offends Shimon in the presence of others. So it's not just between them, there are other people listening. And thus emerges that if Reuven disparages his fellow Shimon by speaking either Lashon Hara or Rechilut, in the presence of both Shimon and others as well, besides the fact that he is subject to the prohibitions of Lashon Hara and Rechilut, as we wrote above, Oved Gan Kain Belav Zeh. He also violates the prohibition of onat dvarim. Now, it's clear from, as we will learn in the next sif tomorrow, it will be clear that this prohibition against onat dvarim, hurting someone with your words, applies only in the presence of a person being embarrassed, only in the presence of the victim. If he's not in your presence, right, you cannot hurt him. You're hurting him either way, but this prohibition does not apply if the person is not present, and therefore if he's not, one violates the other prohibitions regarding Lashon Hara, but he does not violate this prohibition of hurting someone through onat dvarim. And now, I forgot to mention, when we were talking about the perpetuating a quarrel, right? The one, do not be like Korah and his assembly. It should be noted that if one merely listens to Lashon Hara, he also violates that prohibition. Why? Because it is very, very likely that the argument could have abated had the listener shown his displeasure with the Lashon Hara speaker. Had he shown, right, his displeasure, right, he either, as we will learn, what kind of things that a person should do if he hears Lashon Hara, to show the person, right, that he does not approve. Had a person shown that, the speaker would have very likely would have stopped. Not in all cases, but it's likely. And the fact that a person didn't do and just passively stood there listening, he also violates this prohibition, because he's giving his cue, he's allowing the Lashon Hara speaker to continue, and therefore he's perpetuating the argument, perpetuating the quarrel, perpetuating the Lashon Hara speaking account, or rechilut, or anyways. And yes, so that's it for today. Thank you very much. We'll continue tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem.